This is Locked On Bets, the daily betting show that means business from the Locked On Podcast Network. Hosted by Lee Sterling and Kevin Rogers, they're dropping fearless picks with an inside edge to put money in your pocket. If there's action, they've got the lock. This is where smart bets start. It's Locked On Bets.
Welcome to the Wednesday edition of Locked On Bets. Kevin Rogers and Lee Sterling of Paramount Sports with you. As always, we appreciate you making Locked On Bets your first listen of the day here on the Locked On Podcast Network. Guess what, Lee? 6 picks today. We have not done 6 plays yet in the return of Locked On Bets, so we got a lot to get to. So, you know what? Let's just get this thing going with a hidden gem.
To find a diamond in the rough, you need to dig a little deeper for those hidden gems.
We got baseball, we got hockey, we have college football, all of it today, but it begins in Detroit. ALDS, the Mariners can close out the Tigers with a win today. You're looking at Detroit's Kerry Carpenter for a prop this afternoon. So, Lee, what do you like with that?
Early bird gets the worm. Afternoon game, 3:08 first pitch. Kerry Carpenter. Well, checked in. The wind is blowing out significantly in Detroit this afternoon. Bryce Miller has been better at home, significantly better, but on the road been questionable over the last couple seasons. Kerry Carpenter, fly ball hitter, as we all know, and if he's able to lift one, it's going to go yard. But I'm going to take the safer play here with the over 1.5 bases. Let's say he hits a line drive or one that doesn't quite get out, goes off the wall here. So we're going to go with over 1.5 bases on Kerry Carpenter, 3:08 p.m. first pitch. My first hidden gem.
And we'll see if all 4 teams up in their series advance to the LCS, or who hangs around today if the Tigers can bring it back to Seattle for a Game 5. Also, the Yankees, they rallied back last night to force a Game 4 tonight against Toronto. The National League resumes today. We'll see if the Phillies can stay alive. Also, the Cubs-Brewers, we have a play on that as well. That is coming up in just a little bit, Lee. And before we get to our recap from yesterday, let's go to our second hidden gem.
To find a diamond in the rough, you need to dig a little deeper for those hidden gems.
The NHL season began last night, and the Los Angeles Kings, they were stymied at home by the Colorado Avalanche. They lose 4-1. Nothing after one. 3 goals in the second for Colorado. They cruise from there. So now the Kings, with a quick turnaround, going to Vegas tonight to take on the Golden Knights. Always a wild atmosphere there at T-Mobile Arena. But I'm going to take the LA Kings in the first period coming up this evening. Now, a couple numbers here. First of all, at FanDuel, it's at plus 138. So nice return if you can get that. If you push, then nothing. You get your money back. And if you win, it's a pretty good return. But LA, a couple numbers on them. 3-1 last year against Vegas in the first period. So they got off to good starts. They got blown out in their first game against the Golden Knights, but then played better against Vegas the rest of the season. Also, how about this, Lee? 14 times last year, the Los Angeles Kings played with no rest. They only trailed 3 times after the first period in those games. So either they led or they tied. So usually a good start for them on no rest. First game for Vegas. But LA, the first team to play their second game of the season. So we're going to take the LA Kings as our hidden gem in the first period coming up tonight in Vegas.
Wow, no guts, no glory. The public is certainly going to be going with Vegas, their home opener. So you know hockey as well as anyone. You know, you do a lot of work for the Florida Panthers and pregame and between periods and postgame, and you watch a lot of games and know these teams inside and out. So I'm tailing you tonight. Let's get it in the first period. That way I don't have to watch the rest of the game.
And also I passed on Game 3 of the WNBA Finals between the Mercury and the Aces, so we don't have to worry about that coming up this evening. Let's recap yesterday's picks. You weren't on the show. Instead, Jack Bond was on, and always great when he hops on the show. We split our 2 picks because he had 2 season picks for the NHL, so we got to wait on those. He had the Detroit Red Wings making the playoffs and the Penguins under their point total. Penguins played well last night. They shut out the Rangers. But as far as our 2 picks, Jack did have the Kings against the Avalanche, was a loser. My winner was Logan Gilbert. Over 6.5 strikeouts, he had 7. Detroit strikes out a bunch. So 1-1, we'll take it and move on to today's action.
I'm expecting big day for us today. 6 games. Like I said, we've never had 6 releases that we've had player props and or games. So feel really good about Wednesday. People are going to be, I think, rewarded by listening in today. And they're as hot as I was last week in football. They're going to be happy because coming up, I got 3. That's right. Not 1, not 2, but 3 wrong team favorites here in football today.
Yeah, and looking at some college football, we got some more NFL later in the week. Just want your comment on this, Lee, since you weren't on yesterday. And another team blowing a double-digit lead in the NFL was Kansas City Monday night. Didn't get your follow-up on that, and their loss to Jacksonville. The Jags at 4-1, and their only loss came to Cincinnati, where they led late. You had the Jags a few weeks ago, and Cincinnati came back and won. But another double-digit lead blown. You kind of thought Kansas City was now they're getting it back in order. They're 3-2 with a win. They blow a 14-0 lead and lose. So I guess your thoughts on both these teams and how it all unraveled on Monday night.
Well, I think it was a combination of both, Kevin. I thought Kansas City looked really good, and give Jacksonville credit. They fought back. Their offensive line, as we've mentioned before, much improved since last year. They really only had 3 NFL caliber starting offensive linemen, but they were giving Lawrence time to throw for the most part. I mean, there was the unfortunate thing where the offensive guard stepped on his foot. That's just a freak, but how they won the game. But bottom line is they're improved. And, it would have been 21-14 if Patrick Mahomes didn't misread the coverage and the linebacker faked like he was blitzing, dropped into coverage, intercepts the ball, goes 99 yards. That's a 14-point flip. And I think it works out to something like 86, 80%, 7% of the time when a team throws a pick 6 and they're going in for a touchdown in the red zone, just can't overcome it. So I still think Kansas City's really good. What surprised me maybe more than anything in the game wasn't Jacksonville's improved. I think we knew that, was the fact that I thought Kansas City's defense down the stretch just wasn't good enough, not applying pressure unless they blitz. They don't have a whole lot of depth there. That's what happens when, you get into free agency and the draft and you finish, with such a good record year after year. You're picking in the mid to late 20s, and it's hard every year to hit on those sleepers. And Kansas City just doesn't have the depth on defense. And they also lost, they've lost one of their key guys, one of their key cornerbacks to free agency last year. And I think it showed in that game.
And quickly, just to wrap up on these two teams, as far as not necessarily futures go, but with Jacksonville, we see how well Indianapolis has started. Houston's kind of come back from the dead a little bit with a couple wins in a row. But what do you think about in the AFC South as far as who your favorite is to win that division?
I think it's going to end up being, if you want to take a long shot, take a look at maybe Houston. They're starting to put it all together. Their offensive line still isn't very good, but everything else good. They're getting a lot of guys back. They got a lot of guys back at receiver. Their receiving core is really good. I mean, there's a reason they traded Michie to Philadelphia. He was probably going to get let go or get stashed maybe, on injury reserve if he got hurt. So they're loaded defensive backfield, edge rushers, and also defensive back. So they look really good. I mean, the other teams obviously are playing great. Indianapolis playing great. Jacksonville's playing great. No one thought, though, this was going to be a 3-team race.
And also, too, with Houston, I mean, you look back, you say this for every team, but they threw away the Tampa Bay game. They were tied late with Jacksonville. The Jacksonville game is a huge swing game. You win that one in the division, that changes a lot of things. And now Jacksonville's got that divisional win. But still, nobody would have said this, but the AFC South, past Tennessee, should be a pretty good race coming down the stretch as we continue the season. Coming up, we still have plenty of plays. We have more Major League Baseball, as well as 3 college football plays, 3 wrong team favorite in college football. We'll go over all of that. You are listening to the Wednesday edition of Locked On Bets. Let's talk now about FanDuel, and that's right, NFL season, it is underway, a month already. has passed. So that means a lot of odds have moved, and FanDuel has an offer you don't want to miss. Right now, new customers can bet just $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if you win. That's right. Pick a bet, put down $5. If it hits, you'll unlock $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. And so many options. We are back with Thursday Night Football coming up tomorrow. The Eagles and the Giants, they hook up at MetLife Stadium, and Philadelphia favor on the road. You can bet on that game at FanDuel. Also, the player props. You can look at Jalen Hurts. You can look at Saquon Barkley. You can look at Jackson Dart. So many different things you could just bet on in that game alone. Past the side, the total, the money line, when you look at maybe some player props. Also, if you shift over to future props, MVP, Josh Allen of the Bills, in spite of their loss to the Patriots on Sunday night, he's still the favorite to win MVP at FanDuel. Patrick Mahomes now moving up the ranks as well. So is Justin Herbert of the Chargers. You could look at them. Also, Super Bowl, the Bills are favored. Philadelphia and Detroit right behind. You want to take someone maybe more in the middle that you think will win it. You get some good odds on them. Also, AFC and NFC champions. All of that is there for FanDuel. You're in the NFL. You have plenty of choices as you go, not only into Sunday, but also throughout the week with the future bets as well. So what are you waiting for? Visit FanDuel.com to download the FanDuel app today and get started. We continue here, Locked On Bets on a Wednesday. Kevin Rogers and Lee Sterling of Paramount Sports, and we promised you 6 plays, already 2 we've gone over. So now let's go to our third hidden gem.
To find a diamond in the rough, you need to dig a little deeper for those hidden gems.
The Chicago Cubs, it's been a bit of a disaster, these 2 games in Milwaukee. We'll see if they could turn things around like the Yankees did last night, headed back home. But the Cubs taking on a Brewers team that at least they get them out of their ballpark and over to Wrigley Field for that, hour and a half drive up from Milwaukee to Chicago. The Cubs trying to keep their season alive today. And Lee, what do you have with your hidden gem in this matchup?
All right, I'm going to best your WNBA first quarters as far as not having to watch a game. I think this might be 13 or 14 minutes. So I'm going to look at the Cubs-Brewers game first inning. The wind blowing significantly in. That's very important when you're looking at a total at Wrigley. Also, stadium is most affected by wind, maybe any stadium right now, Major League Baseball. Fly ball pitcher here in Talon will be greatly helped with the wind blowing in. And I think Quinn Priester is solid and can keep the Cubs offense here off the base pass here in the first inning. So I'm going to go with a no runs first inning minus 145. It's going to be our third hidden gem.
And also, Lee, we saw in game 2 of this series a pair of 3-run homers in the first inning, one on the Chicago side and one on the Milwaukee side. I just can't see that happening again. You're having these explosions. And like you said, the weather factor, you don't have that in Milwaukee with that stadium compared to Wrigley. So it's going to be different. And also playing a 4 o'clock Central game there in Chicago. I got to think that the way Priester's pitched this year, it's about hidden gems. Milwaukee picking him up where he wasn't great in Pittsburgh. And I get it's hard to be good in Pittsburgh, but he's been terrific with Milwaukee. And Talion with what he's done, that, yeah, I think you could slug through this one and get zeros in the first inning.
Yep, love it. So we're going to hopefully hope for an under 15-minute first inning. We get in, we get out, we get a winner. We move on to some night baseball tonight.
Yeah, and again, we'll see who advances today or if all 4 teams that are trailing extend the series. So it should be pretty interesting today with the 4 games in Major League Baseball. Let's now shift over to college football, and that's the rest of the show, basically. We have 3 wrong team favored, and let's begin in the Mountain West. Stay up late. Utah State and Hawaii for our first wrong team favored.
What the fuck?
WTF.
Oh, yeah, you have a long day on Saturday. Stay up late and see what you can do with this midnight Eastern kickoff. Utah State and Hawaii, Lee. The Aggies, 1.5 point favorite here on the road against the Rainbow Warriors.
Yep. I think this is a game here with a lot of layers. You know, some people choose games based on one or two things they see. I see a bunch of them here. So first off, last year, Utah State waxed Hawaii 55-10 in Logan, Utah. Altitude, remember, and it was cold. It was late November. So these white kids wanted no part of that game. In fact, it was the last start for Braden Shager, the former quarterback. Not only was it his last start, he was playing basically, I think, on one leg. So never should have been out there. I guess the alternatives, they weren't sure what they wanted to do as far as, possibly burning a red shirt for Mike Alejado. But he played, and it was ugly. So now, after that game, they decide, you know what, we're gonna see what Alejado can do. And he had a great outing. They won his only start. He is QB number 1 now. He is the heart and soul of this team. He's put the run back in the run and shoot. So he can run. He can throw the football, distribute the ball. He has power in his arm, pretty darn accurate, and also a team leader. He is their emotional leader. When he's not in, things don't work right. He was, 85, 90% the last couple of weeks. Looked like he's finally close to 100%. Now, Utah State this year under first-year head coach Bronco Mendenhall, 4-0 against the spread. Impressive. I think people were shocked how quick the turnaround would come. But 2 of their spreads were against teams that were much better than them. Vanderbilt, mid-20-point spread, covered it. Also mid-30s against Texas A&M. They played okay. They competed. It's probably the best thing you could say. And then they beat UTEP and Air Force. Everyone beats those 2 teams. So I think that Vanderbilt and A&M were looking ahead to bigger games right after that. So didn't get their best shot here. So that maybe they're a little overrated. This game is going to be hot. Going to start there at 7 p.m. And think that Hawaii revenge is going to be sweet here. Wrong team favorite, number 1. Hawaii Rainbows plus the 1.5. They might end up being the favorite if people watch game tape of these 2 teams here. Hawaii wins this game outright, 37-30.
Yeah, and look, you bring up a good point about you covering as 2 huge underdog spots, and you're like, oh, well, maybe they're not that bad. But again, now you're flipped to that favorite role that you're not just that you're targeted here in this spot. So we'll see how this one unfolds coming up late Saturday night for people on the East Coast. I mean, not in Hawaii, it's normal time, but we'll see how that goes with Utah State and Hawaii. Coming up, we do have 2 more wrong team favorites, and in both of those, they involve SEC teams. So we will go over that, and the SEC getting hot and heavy right now. You have Texas, Oklahoma coming up on Saturday. That's not one of the games coming up, but a lot of big games in the SEC. We will highlight them coming up as we continue right here on Locked On Bets. We roll on Locked On Bets here on a Wednesday. Kevin Rogers and Lee Sterling of Paramount Sports, and 2 big games in the SEC that we're going to hit on here. And the first one, Georgia and Auburn coming up. A big one. We'll see if the Tigers can get the home victory. Time now for another wrong team favorite.
What the
WTF.
You got to feel for the Auburn Tigers a bit. I mean, their schedule, it has not been easy for them so far. Had some tough road games, but now they are back at home. Fly that eagle out there, Lee. So let's see. Auburn and Georgia. What do you think about this game?
Yeah, you got that right. I mean, they opened the season at Baylor. Then they had to play at Oklahoma, and then had to play at Texas A&M. And last 2 teams, really good defense. So nothing's wrong with Auburn's defense, allowing 16 and 24 points on the road and close 6 to 7 point losses here. Run defense ranked 17th, 88 yards per game. So, if they played against a sissy schedule, it might even be higher, might even be top 8, top 10. Georgia looked solid, but they lost to Alabama at home and should have lost to Tennessee. If you go back and watch that game, last 7-8 minutes of the game, any one of 8 plays go Tennessee's way, they win that game. So they very easily could have 2 losses here. Auburn's offense had to throw the ball 65 times in those two losses. And like I said, it's on the road, tough to get, the snap off. It's going to be a lot easier with the home crowd here. And they just get a little bit more balance. I think that they're about ready to click. So Jackson Arnold, the transfer quarterback from Oklahoma, seems to be close to, they're close to hitting on some big plays here. I think their receivers really good. Eric Singleton and Cam Coleman, 2 touchdown receptions each. Let's look at the Georgia offense. Gunnar Stockton, he's fine. Just 6 touchdown passes in 5 games. Their top running back, Chancey Bowens, 310 yards in 5 games. And their top receiver, Colby Young, second year since coming over from Miami, only 247 receiving yards and 1 touchdown here. I think the wrong team is favored. Wrong team favored number 2. Auburn Tigers knock off the Georgia Bulldogs 27-20.
Already going to Baylor, and they won. And you mentioned the Oklahoma and Texas A&M losses. They have 2 road games, Lee, the rest of the season. At Arkansas, who is a complete mess, and Vanderbilt, who we'll see what they are in a month or so. They're vastly improved. We'll see what that is. And Auburn can definitely win at Vandy. And the rest of the way, their home games, taking away Mercer, Georgia this week, Missouri, Kentucky, Bama at the end. So really, you've gotten a lot of the tough road tests out of the way, which is good. Now you got a lot of home games the rest of the way.
Yep, I agree. They could be a sleeper. People base their decisions on records, things like that, but wouldn't shock me if Auburn goes on a run here.
So we'll see how that goes. And Auburn's best friend, the Alabama Crimson Tide, they are on the road at Missouri, our second wrong team favorite.
What the fuck?
WTF.
After that loss to Florida State in the opener, Alabama's gotten their stuff together. I guess Kalen DeBoer will be the next governor of Alabama, replacing Nick Saban. So that's good news. And now they go to MIZZOU on Saturday. We'll see if the Tigers can get their signature SEC win. They've already beaten South Carolina, but this will be a big one. So what do you think here, Lee, with the Tigers and the Crimson Tide?
All right, so only Kansas has scored more than 20 points on this Missouri defense, and 7 of those points was in garbage time right at the end of the game here. So no one has totaled close to 300 total yards on this defense. And the account transfers, they really have like 9 starters returning. So under the radar, obviously, everyone's talking about Bo Prabilla. If you follow college football, one of the best dual threat quarterbacks. Penn State would love to have him back. I think he'd be starting over Drew Allar here. And he's a guy that's thrown for over 1,200 yards, 9 touchdowns, and he has over a 75% completion percentage, and he's run for 3 touchdowns. So this guy really stresses defenses here. Tide run defense, got some problems. Allowed 7.1 yards per carry last week to a pretty good Vanderbilt offense, but I think Missouri's is even better. So maybe the quarterback position is a wash, Vanderbilt compared to Missouri. Missouri has a running back, Ahmad Hardy, transfer from Little Louisiana Monroe. He leads the nation, 730 rushing yards, 9 touchdowns. He's run for at least 100 yards in every single game. Remember, they played a Mickey Mouse schedule, so he's been pulled early in a lot of these games. He's averaging 7.1 yards per carry. Last 2 weeks, Alabama faced teams, Georgia and Vanderbilt, with running backs that, quite frankly, weren't very good and don't even have half the rushing yards that Hardy has here. So this is a bad matchup for Alabama after going to Georgia, their bitter rival other than Auburn, and coming out with a win, and then at home on game day, getting revenge against Vanderbilt. It's tough for these kids to get up 3 weeks, in a row. So I think this is a bad spot here for Alabama. I think Missouri's underrated here. I don't think the Tide's going to roll here. We're going to go with a third wrong team favorite. Missouri wins this game outright, 37-34.
And that's what, an 11 a.m. Central kickoff for this for Alabama and Alabama, Missouri. So 11 a.m. Central kickoff in this game. And it's so funny to say Alabama off a revenge game against Vanderbilt. You never thought those words would be uttered in your entire life. And Vanderbilt still hung with them. Alabama scored the late touchdown to cover, so Vandy still hung around in that game. But, yeah, this is going to be another tough matchup for them. And for Missouri, again, looking for that signature win on the season. The good thing is Missouri, I mean, I can't think of off the top of my head all the teams in the country, but they haven't left Columbia the entire season. They haven't played a road game yet. So this is their final home game before they have a couple road games up ahead. So they've been at home.
And I forgot something else, revenge. I think they lost something like 34-0 at Alabama. They were playing with a hurt quarterback last year, their starter, Cook. He shouldn't have played. He was really hobbled, couldn't even run. And so big revenge game and a bye, coming off a bye. So a lot of layers to that game. So people may not know this Missouri team. People will bet Alabama, public will. Sharps will be on Missouri.
And by the way, next week, Alabama hosts Tennessee. So you have that also. And again, don't want to overlook Missouri, but just the spot here with the travel doesn't seem advantageous for the Crimson Tide. So, Lee, you have been on fire in the NFL. We haven't hit on any NFL plays, but we're going to get to all of that the next 2 days on the show. Plenty of college plays. So with all that being said, what's going on with Paramount Sports now heading into another big week?
Yep. So we'll be heavy on the NFL next couple of days, and also maybe throwing at least one UFC fight where we hit our 50-unit max wager last week. So here's what we got going. Baseball playoffs, you want to get through the World Series, $97, reduced from $297. The player props, Major League Baseball playoffs, reduced from $250 to $97. UFC, 5 to 7 selections, $37 from Brazil. Rio de Janeiro, that's where the site is this week in the UFC. We're rolling there. We've won 14 of the last 18 UFC cards. And football, you want to hop on board. We don't call it October. We call it Locktober. Get everything. If you use coupon code SAVE100, just $397 on our phone service. Went 10-1 on Saturday and Sunday on a 16-3 run, college football and the NFL, or the entire season through the Super Bowl, $12.97. Got a smorgasbord for you to choose from, and even hockey started. Use coupon code SAVE300, $11.97 for the entire season for hockey. So you want to win, just one place, ParamountSports.com.
And don't forget to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Locked On Bets, as well as subscribing to the podcast. You can do that on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you get your podcasts. Find it there, Locked On Bets. For Lee Sterling, I am Kevin Rogers. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Wednesday edition of Locked On Bets right here on the Locked On Podcast Network.